Okay, here we are. Thank you everyone for taking some time to watch this webinar. I'm Jessica Allen, for those of you who don't know me, and yesterday we did the final blower door test on the 10-star home that Suho have been working so hard on for the last couple of years. So a very exciting day. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about some of it. As always, this webinar is eligible for a CPD Green Star Sustainable Development CPD point. So get in touch with us at info@suho.com.au if you would like a certificate of attendance, and make sure that you interact in the chat and let us know that you're here. So this is the front of the 10-star house as it looked yesterday. So it is very, very close to completion. And these fine people on the right hand side are the team that made it all happen, along with Woolcock Construction, who are the builders. So these are our lovely Suho studio team: Geraldine Petit, Ruth Nordstrom, Sam J. Leeson, Carmen Wilson, and Courtney Bain. So thank you very much to that fine team of people. The 10-star home has its own website. Before we go into the actual testing details, I'll show you a little bit about the website and what it can do. So you can actually head on to the website for an interactive tour of the house. I'll just quickly show you a little bit about it. It's a carport, what it would look like when there's eventually vines. And then you can click on, for example, these little dots, and it'll tell you about the products and materials that have been used. So we've got James Hardie cladding, Kingspan, Climasure and James Hardie products, ABB battery and inverter, Stiebel Eltron heat pump, single point of envelope penetrated air infiltration control point. So I've got a photo of that I'll show you a bit later in the presentation. But if we click here, you can go inside the house as well. So if you have a moment in your day, it's a really interesting virtual tour, and hopefully we should be able to open up the home for actual tours very soon. The official opening was supposed to be on the 6th of May. It was supposed to be last week, but obviously with all this corona stuff happening, it was not able to go ahead. So if you're interested in having a look through the 10-star, do keep in touch. Sign up to our social media platforms and whatnot, and we'll keep you all informed when we can start taking people through. So that website is 10starhome.com.au. So here we are again talking about the red pen test. Obviously without the red pen test and without the strategy that went along with that red pen test, we wouldn't have been able to achieve the results that we did. So for those of you who haven't watched or my sessions previously on the red pen test, you would have not seen this picture. If you did see my red pen test webinar, you have seen this picture, but this is the floor plan of the 10-star home, and an elevation of the section drawing, of the 10-star home, and a very clear red line around the air barrier. So this purpose of this red line was to make sure that the trades on site knew exactly where they had to pay attention. The Woolcock Construction carpenters were really, really willing to learn in this project. So the builders had never actually done one of these airtight projects before. They're in fact primarily commercial builders, so this was a really new experience for them. And we have to say that they were really open to learning, and they did extremely well throughout this process to help achieve the results that we did, because the red pen line isn't much use if the builders don't actually apply what they learn and tape things up and make sure they don't put unnecessary holes in the air barrier, etc., etc. So in this drawing you can see that the red pen mark circulates the perimeter of the building around the outside of the stud. All the way around the building, and here's a bit more of just a close-up of where that red pen line goes. And same on the section drawing, the red pen line goes up around here across the ceiling line. This here was for services and for HRV ducting and things like that. This piping here was in the virtual tour where I showed you that single entry point. There was that little dot for the single entry point for wiring and things like that. That's what this is. So these pipes came up through the slab, and all of the wiring entered the house through these pipes. And these pipes are housed inside this little cupboard. So this is like a little European laundry inside a cupboard, and next to that is where all of the wiring enters the house, which then goes up into this little services section and then out to the rest of the house down through the services layer that was deliberately designed into the building. So here is a section drawing of what the typical wall detail looks like. So this is the inside of the wall, not the outside. So usually brick forms the outside leaf of a house on a normal brick veneer construction. In this instance, it's on the inside. We used the thermal mass, or the studio team designed the thermal mass on the inside of the building. And here, this green section here is the services layer that was created. There was a 10 mil unventilated gap where all of the wiring was fed through. Then we have the reflective vapor permeable membrane, insulation, some K12 Kingspan rigid insulation, and then we have the air barrier, the wall wrap on the outside of that additional insulation. The air barrier was on the outside of the stud, and yeah, as I said, this was for the surfaces so that there were to be no holes at all cut in the air barrier. The wall wrap was Solitex X Tesana from ProClimber, and you can see here anywhere that the wrap was cut, or anywhere there were fixings on the wrap to adhere it or fasten it to the studs, each of those penetrations has been taped over. Anywhere where there is a join in the building wrap, every single point has been carefully taped over, and that's all throughout the building. The windows in this project were triple glazed UPVC windows from Poland, so every single element of this building has been very carefully designed, not just for optimal thermal performance in the NatHERS energy rating software, but also for air tightness. So these triple glazed windows, UPVC frame windows, actually are they UPVC? I have to double check that with the design team, but they are all also designed for air tightness and installed in a very particular way as well. So in this project we did 2 air tightness tests, one halfway through the build process, to make sure that we were on track to achieve the 0.6 air changes per hour for which is the cutoff for passive house. This test was performed on the 5th of November last year, and this is the graph this is the plot of the results. So when you do a blower door test, you take different readings at different intervals. So we took readings from between 80 pascals and down to 8 pascals, and then the software then works out sort of like an average result at 50 pascals. So this is the 50 pascal line here, and we needed 263 cubic meters per hour to pressurize this building to 50 pascals, and that converted to 0.62 air changes at 50 pascals. So we just missed the 0.6 cutoff. However, it's our understanding that under the passive house rules, that result is rounded down. So if we decided to go for passive house certification, it's possible that this result would still be usable. So we're still looking into that. Yesterday, these are pictures from yesterday's test, just setting up the frame. This is what the door looks like when it's all ready to go, and this is myself and Geraldine waiting on the results, the final results, nervously anticipating what they would be. Geraldine had a really instrumental role in this project, making sure she was on site quite a lot, sort of like so when you are trying to achieve a really, really low air tightness result, what you need is someone who is specifically in charge of air tightness. They need to be on site supervising, making sure that nothing gets missed, keeping the carpenters and all of the trades to account. And that was basically her job. She was on site quite a lot, making sure that what she had and the rest of the team had put so much work into in design phase actually made it onto site during construction phase and could then be verified at verification stage, which was yesterday. So here we have the final result, very similar graph to the one from last time, and this time we ended up with 264 cubic meters per hour instead of 263 cubic meters per hour, which converted to a slightly higher result of 0.63 air changes per hour at 50 pascals. Again, we are of the hope that this will be rounded down to 0.6 if we decide to go for, if we possibly could potentially go for passive house certification as well. But this was a really outstanding result. We actually missed a window when we first turned the fans on in the first instance. We missed a window that was actually open. And I was looking at the computer as it was reading the results going, this doesn't look right. But at the same time, the numbers that we were reading, even with one of the windows wide open, the results still would have been around about 3 air changes per hour. I just did a quick calculation while I was standing there. And so even with the window open, this house would have achieved a better air tightness result than most of the houses that are built today in the entire country. So that was quite an interesting little error on our part. Had a bit of a laugh about it. So yeah, basically that's it. That is the final drumroll result for the 10-star home air tightness testing results. It's the culmination of a lot of really hard work by a lot of people. I haven't actually put Woolcock Construction's logo on this presentation. That was a bit of an omission on my part, but their guys did extremely well, and we would like to thank them for all their hard work. Not done yet, not quite finished, but the final air tightness test results speak volumes on their own as to the quality of the workmanship and the supervision by the Suho Studio team. So this project would not have been possible without the partnership of all of these companies. So the 10-star house was very much a prototype project, and all of these companies have contributed in various ways to help make the project happen. So we wanted to acknowledge that before we sign off for the day. That's all I really have regarding the 10-star test yesterday. Short and sweet. We've got a couple of other webinars this afternoon and tomorrow to keep you interested, so I hope you can join us for those. And thank you for your time. If you have any questions about the 10-star house, this talk was specifically about the air tightness test. I wasn't part of the design team, so I probably can't answer any specific design questions. But if you have a question about the design, you can contact me at air@suho.com.au and I can pass that question on for you. And if you need that CPD certificate, then give us a shout at info. If you have any air tightness questions related, air tightness testing questions, I can probably answer those. So I'll head over to the chat and see who we've got. Okay, good morning Natalie, Timo, hello. Angie, hello, hey Luke. Okay. Timo, why didn't you install the air tightness membrane on the inside of the wall insulation layer? This would still achieve non-penetration by cables. Timo, that's a design question, so I'm going to have to pass that on to our studio team, and I will get probably Geraldine to answer that question for you. Might get her to give you a call, or I'll give her your contact details, if that's okay. Angie, for how long that obtained result can last until the next test? That result shouldn't change. So the way, we're not going to be testing this house again. That was the final test. That was the line in the sand. That's it. That's the final result. unless we decide to go for passive house certification, then we would have to get a third party to come in and test the house. But at this point, there will be no more testing done. So that was the final test, and the way the house has been constructed, that result should not change over time. There should be no reason, unless someone knocks a hole in the wall, that result would change. And the other benefit of having that services layer is that the plasterboard is not the air barrier. So you can, the thing is, if you hang a picture, or you pop a hole in the wall, a nail in the wall to hang a picture or a photo or something, or you, I don't know, accidentally knock something into the wall and the plasterboard breaks and it breaks, the air tightness isn't affected unless it goes all the way through the wall. So yeah, there shouldn't really be anything bar demolition that should affect the air tightness level of this home. So I hope that answers your question, Angie, and no worries, Timo, I will get Suho Studio to get in touch with you. Alrighty, I think that's everything for now. Thanks again, everyone, and I hope you all have a nice day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.